It is an absolute honor to welcome all of you to the first series of debates conducted here at ADA Debaters League. Welcome to the first quarterfinals. The motion for today's debate is the House believes that mental illness is glorified on social media. It's an absolute honor to present to you our judge for today, Miss Vidya Devi. She's a counseling psychologist, mental health blogger, and a self love activist. She's completed Masters in Counseling Psychology, MC from Bangalore. She helps people to start their self healing and inner expansion journey through her online platform called Soul Spa, which promotes mental health, self healing, and holistic psychology. It's an honor to have you here today with us, ma'am. So, before we begin, I'm going to quickly run you through the format of the debate. So, round one is our constructive arguments. So, alternatively between team proposition and opposition, each individual will be given a maximum speaker time of 3 minutes. Here, you will place your constructive arguments. Next, we have our discussion round. There's no individual speaker time here. You will be given a total of 4 minutes, and at the discretion of the judge, we might extend your time. Next, we have round three, which is the rebuttal round. Again, here, one participant from each team will present their rebuttals, and each individual have a speaker time of 2 minutes. Next, we have our new round for the quarterfinals, the fancy defense round. So, each team will be presented a situation. In the case of today's debate, both the teams are being presented with the same situation. So, team proposition will go first. You will have 30 seconds to prepare and 30 seconds to give us your take on the situation. Obviously, keep in mind that you should not go against the stance of your motion. Immediately following which, the proposition will start their take on the situation. Here are a few things to keep in mind during this round. So, this round will be scored by the moderator, that is me, plus two people from my organizing committee. Then the situation that is given to you is open to interpretation. However, make sure that your interpretation is logical, practical, and not over the head. I hope you understand what I mean by that. And again, as I mentioned, stand by your stance and avoid being diplomatic. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, from the quarterfinals onwards, the organizing committee will also be scoring you on decorum, in the sense that please remain respectful to your opponents and in what you say, and also stick to the rules of the debate. Finally, we have the judges' questioning round, where our adjudicator for today will present a maximum of two questions, and depending on how many questions, you will be allocated time during which you have to formulate and answer the question. And finally, we have the closing statements. So, here we will have two participants, one from each team. They will be given an individual speaker time of 1.5 minutes, and you will have to present your closing statements. I hope the format is clear with all our participants. Said that, I think we can begin with the constructive speeches. I look to the first speaker of team proposition. You may present your case. And as always, please look out in the chat box for the timings and stick to the timings.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm Angeline, and I'll be talking for the topic mental illness is being glorified and romanticized by the internet. What is mental illness? Mental illness is a condition which causes a serious disorder in a person's behavior or their thinking, like being depressed, experiencing anxiety, having bipolar disorder, or even having suicidal tendencies. But this has now started to turn out. This has now emerged to be a beautiful, unique, or a cool culture, which is not good and has become very critical for our society. Let me explain how depression has started to be romanticized. We've dealt with a generation of people who misunderstood and mislabeled mental illnesses um, in order to have them understand the damage caused by mental illness and have them treat a serious issue. um, the internet and other forms of social media has played a very powerful weapon. However, in the recent times, we've seen mental illness is being mislabeled once again, as the internet started calling or making it seem like it's edgy or a personality trait that people should have. This is a serious matter, and we understand this mainly because the number of characters in shows have defined themselves because of this problem. Instead, it is taken upon themselves to glorify this as quirky personality traits. Uh, Characters like Dexter, Sherlock, Batman, or even Edward Cullen from Twilight are men with serious emotional problems, and we tend to support and imitate their characteristics, thinking it looks cool. And the fact that they're also rich, good looking, and talented makes them very sought after, which is why in real life also people tend to go out and find people with dark past, with traumatic and emotional baggage. Um, and this is something that now uh, constitutes to being a very brilliant human being. In this, I'm sorry. Um, in light of this, we fail to recognize that the fact that mental illnesses are a serious issue and the people who suffer from them require help and support. Instead, we begin to think that these are sought after qualities and leading at the rise of an impression and leading to make an impression on teenagers' minds that having to be depressed or having anxiety, having um, being anorexic or bulimic is a personality trait because also TV shows show us how you have to have size zero, be super skinny, or you have particular traits that people look after. So uh, because of this, TV shows and the internet shows us how it's being romanticized and glorified. Sorry, I think I went out of time.
No, ma'am, that was fine. Thank you, speaker. Now I look to the first speaker of team opposition to present their case.
What mental health needs is more sunlight, more candor, and more unashamed conversation. Greetings to respected judge, moderators, and my fellow debaters. Welcome to this side of the house. And we believe with emotion that mental illness is not glorified and romanticized in the internet, but often misinterpreted and misguided in the society, which leads to a public stigma and discrimination. The internet is a great place to discuss issues and notions regarding mental health. It is a powerful stage to break stereotypes around mental illness. One of the biggest advantages of the internet and social media is that it can ensure anonymity. Thus, it provides a safe environment, making it easier for people to share their experiences. Interacting with someone struggling with a similar illness on a worldwide platform can be very encouraging. As much as it is important to talk about these issues, we must make sure that we are not romanticizing and glorifying mental illness. At times, it is portrayed as something which is beautiful and deep. 1 in 4 people in the world will be affected by mental or neurological disorders at some point in their lives. Around 450 million people currently suffer from such conditions, placing mental disorders among the leading causes of ill health and disability worldwide. Nearly 9 out of 10 people with mental health problems say that stigma and discrimination have a negative effect on their lives. This is because society in general has stereotyped views about mental illness and how it affects people. Many people believe that people with mental ill health are violent and dangerous, when in fact they are more at risk of being attacked or harming themselves than harming other people. The situation is exacerbated by the media. Media reports often link mental illness with violence or portray people with mental health problems as dangerous, criminal, evil, or very disabled and unable to live normal, fulfilled lives. Research shows that the best way to challenge these stereotypes is through first hand contact with people with experience of mental health problems. A number of national and local campaigns are trying to change public attitudes to mental illness. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Now I look to the second speaker of team proposition to present their case.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So mental illness, as we all know, is a serious psychological disorder that has, serious repercussions on an individual and its psyche that it affects. In the past, it has always been looked up as a taboo, and we have dealt dealt with it with a lot of insensitivity. Over the years, we have, we've developed awareness, and the awareness has developed momentum so as to do away with these misunderstandings and, myths and insensitivity towards this particular topic. But one weird development, or rather unexpected development in the recent years, is how mental illness is being romanticized or glorified, especially on the internet. In the attempt to normalize that mental health disorders are a thing that you and I could go through, it has been reduced to an aesthetic by the internet generation. Take the example of any social media app. Let's say Tumblr. Having a mental disorder such as bipolar disorder or depression is almost celebrated or glorified, dare I say, on a platform such as Tumblr that is predominantly used by 13 to 17-year-olds. And it's looked upon as something that is, deep or intellectual. Don't even get me started about Reddit. It's just one big I hate my life meme for karma points. And all those Instagram stories you've seen with sappy quotes on them. If you had $1 for every time you saw one of those, just take a random picture, add a black and white filter, slap a corny quote on it, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, we have pure depression. Now, let me tell you how this affects people with actual mental health disorders. Having anxiety has been reduced to a mere quirk or something that is cute and a protagonist in a funny TV show would have. So that's fine, right? Having serious eating disorders like anorexia is glorified, and it's looked upon as though it is something so beautiful and fragile yet painful, and you have to go through it. And it has given rise to a number of toxic diet plans that naive minds follow in order to attain this Greek god like perfect physical fitness. Let us get politically incorrect for a minute. Just because that guy didn't respond to your message does not mean you have depression. Just because you couldn't concentrate in class or didn't do your homework does not mean you have ADHD. Just because you're nervous or you have stage fright doesn't mean you have anxiety. And for the love of God, just because Lord or Lana Del Rey wrote a song about being sad in summer doesn't mean that having an actual mental disorder is something that is cool or edgy. It's almost bizarre to think how impressionable minds actually want to have a mental disorder. They are convinced that it is so poetic, and you need to go through that phase in your life to attain this rags to riches success fairy tale story. What started off as a positive moment to empower and encourage people that actually need psychiatric help has morphed into this subculture that basically looks at everyone. It's like, yeah, we're all screwed, it do be like that. Depression is just a personality trait. It actually goes against the very cause it was trying to fight. It overly generalizes the concept of mental health. It belittles the people that are actually suffering through these issues and almost acts as a violent trigger because you see these images of glorified suicidal quotes and whatnot plastered all over the internet. It is detrimental and manipulative to the social, emotional, and physiological welfare of the general naive audience that is consuming this because they just want to
Aishwarya?
fit in, right? So they will subscribe to this.
Yeah, sorry,
And
just conclude. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll conclude. Yeah, I'd like to conclude my speech by telling that these are psychological issues that actually need attention, and we have not dealt with them in the right way in the longest time. So it's about time we deal with them in a responsible manner. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Now I look to the second speaker of team opposition to present their case, please.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. You're clear.
Yeah. Good evening, fellow debaters, organizing committee, and the respectful judge. I'm gonna stand by my point by saying mental illness isn't glorified nor romanticized on the internet. Mental problems isn't imaginary like unicorns. Mental problems are real. They can ruin lives for both the sufferers and the families. The internet has offered various platforms and truly understood the seriousness of this issue. It has also made possible to ask help anonymously and even provided many self-help courses. The internet even offers a wealth of information for what kind of problems that you are facing, whether it's mental or physical. There is even online support groups these days which can help you reduce the feeling of being lonely or feeling of isolation. Mental health apps and other tools promote healthy mental habits, and also shows many shows in recent days uh, uh, are trying to and providing the message of saying that regardless of a person is suffering from mental illness or not, it always teaches it is basically asking you to be kind and ask how the other person's day was. So I conclude my speech by saying that mental illness is not glorified, neither romanticized on the internet.
Thank you, speaker. Now I look to the third speaker of team proposition. Gentle reminder to all the contestants here, if it is possible, please do have your videos on. Thank you. Now, third speaker, you have the floor.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're clear,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah.
So to start off, I'm going to be speaking about how mental illness has been romanticized on the internet. I'm going to be giving you a general history as well as various facts and statistics to back up my claims. First of all, let us understand that mental illnesses are a serious issue. And the problem with the previous generation was that they stigmatized it and no one wanted to speak up about it. Our generation worked very hard to change that, and we ended up changing everything. Now everyone wants to have some dark or relatable personality quirk. Scroll through an Instagram teenager's feed, life is painful, everyone will betray you, and the like comes up. In particular, Tumblr has allowed teenagers and young adults from our generation to share and create unfiltered posts about mental illness. While this opens online discussion can help foster a sense of community, there has also been a trend of treating mental illnesses like it's something that should be sought after. Like my friend previously said, black and white photos of self harm scars overlaid with sensationalized quotes are a common sight. One alarming image reads, I think suicidal people are just angels who want to go home. No, this is wrong. Speak to any one of your friends, they'll say something like, oh my gosh, last night he didn't pick up my call, so I went into depression. Again, you are overly generalizing a serious mental health issue. Then the new culture that has sprung up with the appearance of internet popularity of shows like Twilight, Dexter, 13 Reasons Why. They bring out characters with mental illnesses, which shows that it's no longer stigmatized, and that's a good thing. But now we see impressionable teenagers idolizing these problems, seemingly thinking that cutting your wrists or talking about suicide is a new normal. I mean, who hasn't tagged your friends on a I want to die meme on Instagram or Facebook? Sensationalizing mental illness can be harmful, especially for impressionable young teenagers. Those images of self harm might encourage others to view mental illness as something that is tragically beautiful. Additionally, sensationalism can lead people to believe that mental illness is just a part of who they are and that therapy is a sham. For example, memes that started out as a way to call people out for being dismissive of mental illness have evolved into a way for people to excuse their own behavior and even scoff at the notion of seeking help. More dangerously, suicide can be contagious. Studies show that when new authors sensationalized stories of suicide or reports attempt in detail, suicide rates increase. The release of 13 Reasons Why caused an uptick in searches related to suicide, which is concerning because research has shown that such searches correlate with actual suicides. Don't get us wrong. By all numerical accounts, there's never been more people reporting mental health issues than now, especially the young demographic which dominates social media. A recent Pew Research study has found that 7 in 10 teenagers think that anxiety and depression are the biggest problems their peers face. The medical journal JAMA analyzed the CDC's data showing a dramatic increase in suicide rates among Americans from 15 to 20 years old. Beyond young people, the CDC also cites the oft repeated statistic that 1 in 5 Americans experiences mental illnesses in a given year. The American Psychiatric Association reported an increase of anxiety and depression among all people. So now more and more people are becoming convinced that depression, anxiety, anorexia, and bipolarity are cool and make you special, says Rolla Jadavel, co-author of the social media study and professor of sciences at the University of Balmain. So this gives us proof that mental illnesses are being romanticized, that we are overgeneralizing them, mislabeling them, just like how our predecessors had done. We need to stop this mistake, and I conclude my speech with this.
Thank you, speaker. Now I look to the final speaker of team opposition to present their case.
Greetings to the judge, organizing committee, and the proposition. I would like to apologize for me not turning on the video, and would want to turn on the video for the rebuttal round. So, coming to the topic, clinical depression, a mental health disorder by persistently depressed mode or loss of interest in activities, is being termed as very common, and more than 10 million cases per year have been reported only in India. Considering the gravity of the disease and the fact that now 76% of the clinical depression is left untreated, the fact that it needs more real awareness about the actual mental health issues highlighted. A person who often comes out as being depressed is told to grow up and solve problems on his own and to be brave. A very good example is of, I'm sorry to mention this, but of late actor Sushant Singh Rajput, who committed suicide and was reportedly having depression, was subjected to people calling him weak, subtle, and despite being a graduate from a well-renowned university, was supposedly making a so-called stupid decision. So this is where we stand on stigmatizing the actual mental health issues which we've been facing. This is a very clear example of a stigma that surfaces due to lack of knowledge surrounding causes and burdens. So I'd like to talk about the stigma in very brief details. In Stigma Against Mental Illness, Indian J Psychiat Industry, that is nothing but it is a journal published by Indian Psychiatric Society. It comments that the strongest prejudice against mental illness is the fear of violence. The vast majority of mentally ill persons have never committed a crime, which is according to Psychiat 188. So, as our fellow proposition team suggested, it is actually a 2 seconds of silence. Because I also strongly believe that many such movies created a wrong impact on people. Hence, it is being disproved with the fact I would like to carry on further. These prejudices make it difficult for people struggling or suffering from mental illnesses to seek help. We are talking about people who work from 9 to 5 shifts, sit at home and feel numb, or eat anything and feel numb. There is the continuous feeling of numbness and not able to express their emotions as well. So, as said by my another fellow speaker of the proposition team, mental illness can be used as an option for comedy, as illustrated in memes, but it comes off more that people are laughing at characters rather than with them. Moreover, the Google search engine is programmed in such a way that when you type suicide or self-harm, it directs you to the helpline number, indicating there are only unwanted stigma that has to be broken, bringing awareness about mental illness. So there, I would like to conclude by saying that there's a very fine line between stigmatization and glorification. It is clearly seen that unnecessary social and self-stigmas had primarily led to the cover of people who are actually suffering from mental health issues. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Now we will start with the discussion round. If I could just have the participants' names.
From the proposition, it will be Aishwarya.
Okay, from team opposition.
Hello, from the opposition, it's Divya.
Okay. Contestants, your time will begin as and when you start speaking.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to. Can I start? Yeah, okay. So I'd like to point out how the opposition mainly brought up, and for defending why mental illness is valid, and we never went against it. Well, the only thing we are trying to say is how it has been over exaggerated, and one of the speakers said that the memes were a way of dealing with it. Well, that ironic route has gone overboard to the point where it has been romanticized, and I don't think that point was well defended.
Hello. Can you repeat the last sentence alone?
Yeah, I said how we weren't against mental illness as such. We were just against the romanticizing, glorifying of it. And the points we heard from the opposition were pro mental illness and not pro, and not how it didn't defend why mental illness isn't glorified.
Hello, yeah. See, even shows like 13 Reasons Why does not romanticize mental illness or mental disorder. Even during the season 1, 13 Reasons Why has never romanticized mental illness such as depression or such. It is basically trying to create awareness about mental illness such as depression, bipolarism, anxiety. Because when we turn a blind eye to such great shows who provide much knowledge about mental illness, we make it seem like these violences, which is really bad, which is because it's done by ourselves, our mind to our body, are not a big deal.
Okay.
Even during, I'm going to emphasize on one of the most important scenes in that show. Even during her session with her counselor, it is prime due to his bad statements that causes her depression to worsen, because the victim is always blamed. Even in rape culture, victim blaming is running rampant.
Okay,
Yes.
can I make a point?
Yeah.
You wrote like 13 reasons why you are showing the person with a mental illness in like this through this pink lens where they are seen as the protagonist, and it makes suicide seem as though first of all it showcases suicide as an act of revenge, which is I don't think a very clear image for a good message it delivers to its audience, and it's such an act that is so meticulously planned out, and it just does not reflect very well. And the studies suggest that after watching shows as such, Google searches about such illnesses have gone up, and that usually reflects the increase in the rates of self harm itself. A UK study shows that in the last decade, when all this internet mental illness thingy was in a boom, that's when the self harm rate of girls in the age group of 10 to 14 years has increased by 70%, and for girls who like cut themselves has increased by 285%. So that's not a small number
Yeah.
to just dismiss.
Yeah.
And I'm sure these shows which don't do enough research have had a hand to play in them.
Okay, may I speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said before, when we turn when we turn a blind eye to such shows, we make it seem like the violence is really not a big deal, and people who tend to adapt personalities of a show that is purely based on a story basically has something called as a histrionic personality disorder. Let me read to you what the symptoms of a histrionic personality disorder are. So basically, people who suffer from this disorder are ignorant and have no empathy to those that they portray falsely, and they basically manipulate to get attention. Symptoms include erratic behavior and unpredictable behavior too. They are very much unable to recognize harmful behavior and don't feel that they need to be treated and may not seek therapy. All they want is just attention. They may express depression and feeling of emptiness when they lack attention or affection and make suicidal gestures or threats to increase the attention or care they receive.
Okay.
So
Participants.
what I'm trying to say is it is basically due to the internet.
Yeah.
So you're agreeing with
Yeah.
that point?
Participants, I'm very sorry. We've
No,
concluded.
Anita's.
Sorry, guys, we've concluded with the time. Ma'am, do you think we could extend this round by 2 minutes maybe? Okay. So you will be given 2 minutes,
Can I continue?
participants. But please make sure you conclude in time. Yeah, so your time start now. Yeah, you may continue.
Okay, yeah. So basically, people with histrionic personality disorder do such things that they might think they deserve attention. So when they don't deserve attention, depressed or may have a sensation or a feeling of emptiness.
Are you
So
saying that the
but we are,
general population that claims to be depressed or anxious is suffering with it?
no, I don't understand.
No. Okay, how is this relevant?
I'm justifying that people who portray and people who do such things like the protagonists of such shows or such movies might do this because they want attention. They basically strive on attention, and when they don't receive such attention, they might be feeling depressed. The internet has brought spotlight on mental illness like depression and anxiety, ADHD, anorexia, bulimia, whereas the mental illness such as histrionic personality disorder, imposter syndrome, and NPD have not been receiving much spotlight. In general, I'm trying to conclude that we need more and more awareness about such mental illness. There's a whole lot of other mental illness that you and I are not aware of.
Yeah, yes, I agree. But that's not the point itself, isn't it? We're not trying to say that these illnesses don't deserve coverage or they shouldn't be, propagated and spoken about. What we're trying to say is that certain illnesses that we are aware of are overly exaggerated in the form of, say, I don't know, memes or TV shows and whatnot. And that has
Yeah.
led an entire generation to believe that, they're undergoing mental illness issues whereas they aren't. They're just trying to probably, I don't know, seek attention or something of those sorts, feel unique and, feel like not like other girls.
But we can't blame it because these things,
Hasn't
the
there
internet
not
itself is
contributed to that sort of
providing
problem?
awareness to everyone. Wait,
But the
um,
awareness it has provided, I mean, the repercussion has, overpowered the awareness itself and has,
but it's better to have awareness rather than turning a blind eye for such things.
so we increase the number of people that
Participants,
think they have.
I'm very
Yeah.
sorry. That was a very fiery discussion round, but unfortunately, we have to continue with our other rounds. Thank you, contestants. Next, we'll be moving on to the rebuttal round. If I could have the names of the participants participating in the rebuttal round.
From proposition, Angeline.
Okay.
From opposition, Swati.
Okay. So, Angeline, your 2 minutes will start now.
Okay. Depression is not a feeling of being sad or feeling lonely. It is actually it affects every aspect of an individual's life and even affects the capacity to function and uh, work properly. Um, so, according to WHO, there are around 300 million people who suffer with depression worldwide, and it requires proper treatment. Um, there is no way to describe this feeling, and also or take into consideration anxiety. It's not a very glamorous thing to have anxiety. It's a very painful mental issue. You have panic attacks, which causes pain, self-harm, hyperventilation, and all of that. How do you still want to justify making all of this how do you justify that it is a personality quirk that it's sought after? How do you, despite knowing how painful it is, how not healthy it is for a person, how can you justify depression and anxiety on any social media? How are you turning all of this into a joke or a small like a meme of any sort?
Yeah, as I said, it's
Yeah.
individual speaker time. So, are you done with your rebuttals, Angeline?
Yeah.
All right then. All right. Okay. Swati from Team Opposition, your time
Yes,
will
I'm
begin
ready.
now. Yeah.
Okay. So, addressing toward the proposition team spoke, I would like to build on your same facts. Psychiatrists suggest a person who has experienced or could experience suicidal thoughts may show following signs: feeling intolerable so emotional pain, agitated or in a heightened state of anxiety, experiencing depression, panic attacks, and impaired concentration. So, these all symptoms clearly say that the person is not in a very good state of mind to post something with a beautiful scar in their hair and their hand to call that scar itself as beautiful. It is really very clear that a person in such state of mind would not be able to do so. Rather, it is somebody else who is doing that. I'd like to come up to that. A person inflicting wounds or learning to cut themselves follow maladaptive coping mechanisms for regulating particularly negative emotions. That is, there is a very big remorse and a trauma that is going inside their mind. It's a cheap coping mechanism to self inflict wounds on themselves to actually escape the mental pain and agony that they're going through. We are not standing for the thing that this is actually right and this is actually wrong, but we are rather emphasizing the fact that these people will not be able to post showing the scars in their hand and terming it to be beautiful or tragically beautiful. So, coming to the point where our team spoke about hysteric personality disorder, it is characterized by a long standing pattern of attention seeking behavior and extreme emotionality called as attention seeking. It is statistically proven that there's a shocking 32% of people suffering from HDP self harm to throw spotlight upon them. But that is, they also lack empathy in that case. That is, they survive on attention and love from others. That is, their self-esteem primarily depends upon what others say. I would like to conclude my review.
Okay, ma'am. Next, we move on to our fence your defense round. Mentioned before, team proposition will go first. I will be showing you the situation in a second now. So, since from the time the screen will be on, you will be given 30 seconds to prepare team proposition. Following which, I would like you to conclude your entire statement within 30 seconds. Immediately following that, team opposition will have to give their stance. Is that clear? Okay, seeing as there are no objections, I will present to you the fence your defense round. So, a lot of movies use mental illness to give depth of personality or different dimensions to the character. For example, let's take the movies Joker or the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why. This can be a very polarizing situation. While some argue that these movies and shows destigmatize these illnesses and make room for more open conversation, some strongly feel that the depiction is wrong and it is merely used as a bait to add value to the show. So, team proposition, your 30 seconds has begun. What is your stance on this situation?
About 13 reasons why, we need to understand the 13 reasons why is showing off depression and suicide. And you need to understand that when we see something like that, what is happening here is that this is a portrayal of suicide in an awful misrepresentation. Suicide is rarely planned in such a methodical way. And additionally, there is little mention of mental illness in the first season of 13 Reasons Why. Even though 46% of the people who die by suicide have a diagnosed mental illness. So here you have a misrepresentation of suicide. And then in Joker, we see the presentation of anxiety and other mental issues that Joker suffers from. But anxiety is not a glamorous thing to have, as they're glorifying Joker as a element of change or a figurehead, as we're seeing in the movie. But anxiety is not a glamorous thing. Anxiety causes pain, panic to people who are suffering from it. So you're destigmatizing it, yes, but you're also glorifying it, romanticizing it by putting someone who's suffering in the place of a figurehead without giving any solutions to their problems or trying to help them out. What you're
Okay,
doing here is
speaker,
solely
your time is
romanticizing it
concluded.
for profit.
Okay, is that your conclusion?
Yes.
Okay, if you're done, now team opposition, your time will begin now. Team opposition, am I audible?
Team opposition, please note that you have 10 seconds to answer your question.
In the series 13 Reasons Why, when Hannah Baker tries to say this to her mother doesn't care about it. So these kind of attitudes and characters can lead to mental illness and leads to suicide finally. So you cannot blame completely on the internet or these kind of series.
Ma'am, you have exhausted your time, so I'm very sorry. We will be moving on to the judges questioning round. Ma'am, just for our information, how many questions do you have for team proposition?
Okay, all this while I was on mute. Thank you so much for having here. You guys are fantastic, all of you. I think I have one question each.
Okay, so ma'am, we will present the questions to team proposition first. Team proposition note, you will have 3 minutes once ma'am is done presenting her question. Within the 3 minutes, please frame and answer your question. I hope that's clear. Ma'am, you may proceed.
Okay. So for the team proposition, my question would be, what other mediums do you think can we be able to provide awareness or more authentic awareness to the population?
Well, I think active help is better instead of passively trying to solve the problem. So we can bring about mental health awareness in schools when children are still impressionable and are still differentiating between what is good and bad and what is the choice they have to make before we wait for something bad to happen and then try to make up for the situation itself. So we need better education, awareness, and counseling about it in in means other than the internet as well, like in through serious mediums like education and even counseling through parents and as such.
Also, we have to ensure that students and children are taught by responsible people who care about their well-being. You have to understand that in today's age of internet and other media, children get exposed to the world faster than they used to be. So by seeing shows like 13 Reasons Why and movies like Joker, Dexter, what is happening here is that children are being exposed to really serious issues, but these issues are being sold. These shows do not exist to help mental health. These shows exist to sell themselves. They exist for profit. So that is why they romanticize such issues. You have to understand that we live in a consumeristic society. So they are not trying to help our society, they're not trying to help our generation. So what we can do is by focusing on mental health issues in and by teaching parents on how to educate their children, we have actual individuals who are worried about the well-being of these children to teach them about these important issues so that they can learn about it before being exposed to the real world and have a proper understanding of it rather than the romanticized version or the glorified version that social media or TV shows show us. And or if that is not working out, then there can also be other methods. You have trained psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors in every school, or parents can have meetings with these people, because what you have to understand is that these things need to be taken and dealt with by a professional. You cannot treat depression by talking about it with a random individual on the internet. You need professional help. If someone has suicidal tendencies, the reason why we have a suicide helpline on the internet and not random messenger groups on Facebook is because this requires professional help. So what we need to understand is that what the romanticized, glorified version we see of it on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram is wrong. It's an actual serious issue that needs to be dealt with professionally, and it can be done through multiple media from school, parents, or professional help. Only if we understand it as a proper problem and work on resolving it. Thank you.
Thank you, team.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, we can present the question to team opposition now.
Yeah, hold on. Can you just give me 1 sec?
Yeah, ma'am, sure, not a problem.
Yeah, I'm ready, I guess.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
All right. So since there was a lot of themes that's coming up with the the shows and series, so where do we really draw the line between, oh, this is how a situation is and this is where I'm reacting from, or rather just personalizing it and really reacting from? So where do we really draw this line? Do we take it as awareness or is it overboard? Where do we really draw that line between?
Thank you, ma'am. That's a very valid question.
So
Yeah, team, yes,
yeah,
time starts now.
okay. Addressing to the question, I would like to throw a light upon many instances where the media has actually elevated awareness upon proper self mental health awareness. Movies such as Silver Linings Playbook, A Beautiful Mind, and books such as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest are very best examples of highlighting how media had elevated the mental health issues so well. So talking about drawing lines between where we should take it as a reality and as an awareness fact. 13 Reasons Why is an inbuilt show which was prepared and play scripted to actually bring out awareness about self-harm, substance abuse, and serious cases like that are being casually dealt by the teenagers. Throwing light upon it, there are like many. There's a very beautiful written screenplay where it shows many scenes where there is no proper mental health awareness about with the parents itself. The protagonist Hannah Baker does not seek proper mental health advice from both her parents and her guardian, that is her tutor as well. And coming to the line between that, we shouldn't take that as reality. It can include all scenes that were talking about self harm and brutal violence. They were just depict what the struggles that have been showing by the teenagers. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati.
Team opposition, you have some time left. Is that all? Have you concluded your answer?
Yes.
That's great. Have the closing statements. We will start with team opposition. May I have the name of the speaker?
People find themselves personally involved with the topic of mental health. They may be affected when a loved one experiences a mental health issue. Knowing what to say, how to act, or what we can do to help is not always clear. Other times, we might be the one who's struggling. Anxiety, depression, trauma, these conditions and others have affected billions around the world and throughout history. This is not an argument against discussions about mental illness, but we should all approach these discussions with a more nuanced, rational perspective instead of viewing mental illnesses as passing trends. So much so that people, perhaps unconsciously, have started to idolize them. As strange as it sounds, this misunderstanding is the unfortunate reality of our generation. Society as a whole has become deluded with the notion that mental illnesses are somehow enchanting. The misrepresentation of mental disorders leads to the creation of a false image. People who manifest signs of severe mental illnesses are more often than not ashamed to speak out about it. They are quite often embarrassed by their mental health problems, and yet society continues to project their insecurities for all to see and romanticize their problems as though they are not challenging to live with. Ours is a generation lost in the realms of illusions and misconceptions. Talking about mental health can give us freedom to seek help, find people who can relate, and move toward well being. Let's continue the conversation about mental health. Together, we can work to stop the stigma surrounding issues many of us face. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Now, if I may have the speaker of team proposition.
Yeah, Zubair.
Yeah, you may start.
Destigmatizing mental illness is important, and it's wonderful that there have been increased conversations about mental health online. But we need to consider how the battle to reduce stigma about our mental health online has led to more nuanced problems in society. Moving forward, we need to call for more accurate portrayals in TV shows and movies that are grounded in research and lived experience, not working for profit. When releasing stories involving mental illness and suicide, news outlets should be held accountable to follow guidelines, such as the ones set by the APA, American Psychology Association, and American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And it's important to raise awareness that focuses on how people can get help. Mental illnesses is like any other illness. You should want to get better, not want to glorify it and romanticize it. There is no romanticization of mental illness in art like it's shown when you talk about Vincent van Gogh suffering from bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. Van Gogh himself wrote in his last letters, "Oh, if I could have worked without this accursed disease, what things I might have done." Thus, mental illness does not enhance your creativity. This trend of romanticization of mental illness has led to an extreme glorification and encouragement of suicide and self harm. You find pictures of girls with scars on their arms or a flowery picture of a blade all over Instagram and Tumblr. This is often accompanied by a quote or caption that scars are alluring or beautiful. They're justifying this self harm rather than telling you need to get help. Suicide is seen as a graceful way out. It's being hyped, speaking that suicidal people are angels and not speaking about how it's our responsibility to help them. As a society, we need to stop romanticizing mental illness as it distorts the actual issue and in many cases promotes and triggers trauma. By telling people that mental illness is beautiful, we are teaching them not to seek help or look for treatment. We need to start an honest conversation about breaking stigma around mental illness, but we also need to stop encouraging its romanticization. Thank you.
Thank you, speakers. And with that, we've come to the end of today's debate. It was indeed very insightful to have all your different opinions on this. Ma'am, do you have any feedback for the contestants?
Wow, it was such a nice debate round happening there. Very professional, a lot of information put together. Amazing. So, yeah, being in mental health professional myself, I feel yes, there are, of course, two sides to this. But over the years, I really feel there have been this stigmatization happening. There are a lot of therapists coming online now. For example, Dr. Ramani. She's been like working throughout her life to prevent the narcissistic dynamic and how you can heal yourself from this whole relationship. And she's a world expert who's really speaking about narcissism. Like, it's been going, if you see it on YouTube, she has like a ton of series on that, where people are actually educating themselves about the serious mental health issue when it's coming from a very professional point of view. When it is like the one contestant said, that we really have to indulge in authentic and honest communication. We have to start that. I truly believe in that. I truly agree that. And there has been one therapist who's called the holistic psychologist. Like, she has like over 2.6 million followers, which means it's a circle of self healers all put together, where we are really able to understand beyond mental health illness. I would say, like, it's, yes, of course, there is this mental illness happening, but we are also, through social media, we are actually educating ourselves more beyond that, which means we are getting to understand a nervous system. We are getting to understand our coping mechanisms. We are getting to understand why I'm doing the thing that I'm really doing. We are getting to understand, why am I really craving that likes? Why am I really craving that followers? It's because of that self-validation. It's because of the past trauma and whatever. So, and really bringing about the communication that you have to seek professionals is ongoing topic now and then. And I'm really proud because, as a mental health professional, I feel I'm extremely responsible, because when we used to start, it's all about the ethics, it's all about the trigger, it's all about how sensitive you have to be putting across the content. As I'm building the community, I'm really realizing how much am I responsible, how much my co-therapists are responsible for this entire thing. Even the shows that we're talking about, there is this line that, we are able to see that, yes, this mental health issues come somewhere creeping around. It's really scary at some point. And then also we are stepping back and seeing that, okay, this is a character, this is probably not in me, maybe this is somewhere suffering in me, maybe this can be a trigger in me, and I need to seek a professional help. Probably this is an entertainment field where they're bringing about some awareness, but my path is somewhere I'm able to go reach out to a professional so that I can really help myself. So I believe that, both the teams were amazing in what they're doing. Glorification, yes, happening. And the past and all, when you used to have Facebook, the suicide is not an option, or with the hanging thing, I quit, and all of that was like really scary. I think as teenagers, we all, even me at some point, I had related myself to those images. And now when I'm really into mental health and I'm really seeing, I feel like, oh, this is being done too much now. And at the same time, the awareness has been really increasing now. So many people are into self-healing. So many people are really not, ashamed. They feel it's really okay. They feel anxiety is a normal part of them, but they also feel that they can really regulate themselves through a professional help. They know how to use that medium, how to use the tools. What tools can I really create for myself? That's really been happening. That's an ongoing conversation that's really coming up through social media, which I feel is really happy about. Beyond mental health, we're able to perceive us in a whole different light, and we're able to take care of ourselves. That's how the self-love concept is being like really, it's coming up across the social media. Self taking care of yourself is coming across the social media now. Self-regulating is coming across the social media now. So with that advent, I really feel it's becoming of a conversation. uh, but also as participants, like how we have it in consumer rights, like, is it everything that you can consume? Is definitely to the participant, like how much content do you really want to consume? Is it really from a professional, or is it just like, over the board? So I think as participants or as an audience, maybe we should also take the responsibility what content to really get inside me, and what is something that I have to pause and maybe, sort of do my own research than just dwelling into it, be it whatever information. So that is something I just wanted to add and just conclude there.
Exactly, you've summed up the essence of this debate very, very precisely. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's a great honor to have you here to take out your time and share your experience as a professional. And as we also mentioned before, it is an important conversation, and we're just very happy to have this opportunity to have all of these contestants and you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And if you have any feedback for us as well, you can let me know.